what if you need something a little bit better than a pruning saw, but not quite an outright 14-inch chainsaw? That is the ballpark of market that this Greenworks saw is made to fit. Now, I posted a couple of pictures here of it next to my go-to Remington homeowner saw. I love the Remington, and in comparison price point wise, these two are really similar. But this, on the other hand, I can't run my Remington one-handed. I also, every time I fire up my Remington, every neighbor knows that I fired up my chainsaw. And if I'm anywhere near a property line or something, inevitably I gotta deal with talking to them. Now the other thing is, this is backpack size. This easily comes out. I could throw this into a backpack. I could take it out on the trail and have it when I go out on my mud mower or go out with the ATVs or something like that. So I'm looking forward to being able to test it as far as that goes. It does not have a chain brake, so you do have to pay attention. Don't be stupid about it, but we're gonna try it out. We've got a stand of about 1-inch to 2-inch swamp maple that we need to cut out. We've got this log here that we need to cut up. We've got the log behind me that we need to cut up. This is about 8 inches or so. That one is probably about 5. So we're going to do these first and see how much of an effect it has on the battery. And then from there, we'll start in on a stand of trees and maybe see if we can prune a couple of smaller things in order to go and show that it's a little bit above a pruning saw. But here we go. Here we go. Now granted, white birch is not a very strong wood, especially when it ends up falling down. But this one wasn't entirely rotted either. So I gave it a pretty decent handshake. Now with all that cutting, let's check the battery. Now the battery is weird. Unlike most batteries that have 4 bars, this one only has 3. Not sure why that was done, but let's see what we're at. We are at 1 bar after cutting that tree up. Charging turned out to take about 45 minutes in order to get it back to full battery. Now, it made quick work of this little fir that blew down, but now I'd like to stress it a bit with some of these swamp maples. Now, these things are springy, they love to bind on chains, they love to grab them, and they love to eventually throw them off if you don't pay attention to how tight it is. So behind me is a stand of like 1-inch little saplings and everything that I had promised I was going to go and cut up using this saw. Except for I'm not going to even bother, because nobody needs to see a video of me jumping the chain off of the blade several times in an attempt to do such. Which, by the way, if you need to tighten the chain on this, it's counterintuitive. Instead of going this way to tighten the chain, what you do is you go back about a quarter of a turn, then you come forward until you feel it tense, and you click it a few times. Like that. And now, the chain is tightened back up. So, thoughts on the saw. Stuff like this, about 4 inches down to about like 2 inches, 1.5 inches, saplings and stuff like that, that is this thing's bread and butter. Most definitely what it is capable of and designed for. Did it cut the 8-inch white birch and stuff like that? Yes. Had I been trying to drop an actual full-size living tree, I think I could have dropped the tree. But I definitely would not have even remotely close to enough battery life to cut that entire tree up. Now, there seems to not be much paperwork on the battery charge time on this. So this 4-amp battery, when I charged it up, took about 45 minutes to charge. That's really honestly not that bad. That's enough time to go regroup, have a beverage of your choice, and then come back out and get back to work. Now, that being said, any sapling or anything that has any bounce to it at all, this thing just does not like. It's a great limbing saw. It is a great 2-inch sapling saw. If I was clearing land in order to be able to get some underbrush out or something that it was kind of an old growth, it would be a great saw. Cleaning out a track for a deer hunting channel down through the woods, it would be a great saw. But as far as a gardener's saw is concerned, dealing with saplings, that is just plain not its cup of tea. With that being said, do I endorse the idea of buying this saw? Yes. If you are dealing with this kind of stuff, you want something that you can throw on your back and not even notice that it's there. I mean, there's a strap point right here. You could literally just hang it off of your back. This thing weighs so little. I mean, there's my... That was almost my finger. So on that, we're going to highlight the other safety issue that I have with this. It doesn't really have much for safeties. All you have to do is just lightly have that trigger in. And it'll spin. Now, what's interesting about it is that if I have it and I hold it against that, it'll get mad and it won't want to kick over. But if I hold it out, it'll go right through it. So anything you want to cut, you can't be up against it and start it. You have to have it and then cut. So, I made a chainsaw video, almost lost my finger. It was a good day. Have fun, guys. So, behind me is, can't remember if I started the camera. Oh, I did.